After my shift that night, I left the hospital and went straight to get Major. He was already asleep when I got to Pop's house to pick him up. I carried him to the car and buckled him in. I hugged Pop as I always did and caught a whiff of designer cologne. "You smell nice? You got a hot date tonight, Pop?" I asked, jokingly.
Yes, I do, actually.
"What? For real? You're going on a date?"
Yes. I've been seeing a young lady for a couple months now. It's Friday and I'm off tomorrow, so I wanted to take her out somewhere nice.
He said, rocking back and forth on his heels with excitement. "Lucky lady. It's Friday already?"
It's the weekend. Aren't you off for the next couple days, too?
"Yeah, but I'm a mom. No rest for the wicked," I said, laughing impulsively.
Sweet pea. I know I'm just your ex-father-in-law, but have you considered getting out and meeting...
He was saying before I cut him off. "Just father-in-law, no ex," I said as I walked toward my car.
I just mean you're a good young girl and a great mother. Have you considered it may be time...
"Oh yes, look at the time. It's getting late. I should really get Major home and into his bed. I love you and have a great time on your date." I got in the car and turned it on quickly when I saw him start to walk towards it. I shifted it into reverse, rolled the window down only inches, and stuck my fingers out to wave goodbye. I peeled off and headed back towards my side of town. I was upset with Pop for even suggesting that I start dating. Oh, who am I kidding? I could never be mad at Pop. Deep down, I knew that he loved me and just wanted me to be happy. He was an extraordinary man, and you don't meet many of those in one lifetime. I felt weird for giving Randy my number earlier, but I wasn't too concerned that he'd even call. I drove through crowded streets, full of people ready to enjoy the nightlife. I saw women in short dresses and heels walking towards the bars. I envied them. Here I was, a 20-something, single female yawning at 9 o'clock. I watched people laughing and having fun while I was at a stoplight in the middle of downtown with my sleeping toddler in the back seat. I was exhausted, listening to old-school R&B, wearing day-old scrubs and a messy bun. What was my life? Diapers and drip lines, Barney and bandages, play dates and patience. I couldn't even remember the last time I'd put on makeup or straightened my hair. My phone rang loudly and it startled me. An unsaved number showed up on the display, so I ignored it. I looked up into the rear view and made sure that the ringing hadn't woken up Major. Thank goodness it hadn't. When I got home, I settled Major in and logged onto the dating website. I sat there for a bit, just scrolling through the profiles of my city's most eligible bachelors. I opened my recent messages and sat on the first one for 15 minutes trying to figure out how I was supposed to reply to hi. I responded to messages from strangers asking personal questions, and it felt bizarre. One guy sent me a message asking what my favorite position was. I can't do this shit. I slammed the laptop closed. I got up to get a drink and I heard my computer ding, so I opened it back up. I saw a lengthy message from a very handsome man and clicked on his profile to cyberstalk him. I went through his bio and looked at the pictures he'd uploaded. Strike one, you live in Texas. I read his whole message and was impressed by his intellect. At least he could spell correctly. I messaged him that I'd absolutely like to get coffee with him. Wow, Haley, he spelled coffee right. Such high standards. I didn't realize it was an instant messenger deal, and he responded right back. We went back and forth for hours, and I was as giddy as a teenager. The next morning, Randy texted me. He let me know that he'd never gotten over his dad moving out of my neighborhood and never had the chance to tell me how much he really liked me when we were younger. I was literally in awe because I had no idea. He felt that way all those years ago. I called him and we decided that we should meet up, since texting was too impersonal for old friends. Randy offered to meet up with me now, for an early lunch. I sent him the address to a small, family-owned sandwich shop that I liked. I dropped Major off with my mom and headed towards the sandwich shop. When I got there, I parked and waited in the car, trying to gather myself for a few minutes. I put on my big girl panties and walked in even though I hadn't seen Randy yet. While I sat waiting, I noticed the walls were pale yellow and a variety of sunflowers sat on each of the tables in painted mason jars. It was so coincidental because sunflowers were my favorite. As soon as I looked up, I made eye contact with Randy, who had just walked in. He sat down at my table and looked over the menu. After we ordered, I paid for my own food because I didn't want him to think this was a date. Just old friends, meeting for the first time in many years. We took turns catching each other up on what's happened in the last decade of our lives. I told him about Joey and Major. He explained about his ex-girlfriend and his daughter Nala, whom I'd already met. Randy looked almost exactly the same, if not better than he did when we were teens. He was still very muscular, but he carried it with a little weight. He was a thick boy and reminded me of a big old country teddy bear. His teeth were perfect, so those braces worked, and I was really liking the full beard.
Haley, while you're here, I have to tell you, you are the one that got away, for me at least.
I just giggled lightly, unsure of what to say, and I definitely wasn't ready to open that door. I just wanted to take some time and get reacquainted.
So, you're not seeing anyone right now?
He asked, in an attempt to keep the conversation flowing. No, I am not. Not currently, anyway.
I am not seeing anyone either. I've been so busy with work. I'm a longshoreman, and I get my daughter every other weekend, so I don't get to go out very often and meet new people.
That is something I can completely understand. Same here. What does a longshoreman do, exactly?
Work at a port. For the most part, I basically load and unload ships. It's pretty good money.
Oh, I see. Do you ever go out on the boat?
Yes, but not as often as you'd think. It can be hard, especially if I have to leave for a few weeks at a time.
Oh, that's cool. I said it simply, but even considering starting a relationship with someone who would have to leave for work was definitely not ideal. No matter how much money Randy made, the memories of how I felt every time Joey left kept coming into my mind.
Well, Haley, I must say you're a lot tougher than you look. I can't even imagine what life would look like if Nayla's mother wasn't in the picture, so to speak. We are not together or anything, just to be clear.
Difficult. It's difficult. Twice the work, but also twice the love. I responded, smiling. After we ate, he got up to give me a hug and walked me to my car. I thought the meeting went well, and I planned on calling Randy next week to get together again, when I had a day off. The next day while I was at work, a strange number called, again, back-to-back this time, and left a voicemail. When I listened to the 30-second message, no one said a word. I could only hear a train whistle, off in the distance, and someone breathing into the speaker. I gathered the courage to call the number back, but it didn't even ring. I hung up and tried again. Same thing, just silence. As soon as I got off of work, I stopped by my cell phone carrier and changed my number. Devin and I talked every day for a few weeks via the Messenger app on the dating site before I gave him my phone number. I just changed it and was hesitant to give it out. A couple weeks later, during one late-night conversation, Devin told me that the gym he worked at had just opened a location in my city, and he asked if he could meet me in person. I agreed,